Hi, excuse me. Hi, welcome to Nina's Bag. Nina's Bag podcast is something that we created to have a safe space to talk about pretty much anything. Um, Today, I'm very, very happy to have two beautiful women on either side of me. I'm actually I have a complex, I'm going to be honest. They're so beautiful, I have a complex about it.
And you are too. Look at you.
No comment on the grounds of self incrimination. So, Nina's Bag is a podcast that I created to develop a safe space to talk about just various things. Today's topic is Melissa actually came up with the title, and I love your title, so I don't want to change it.
Where love teaches a mother's bold choice to homeschool.
A bold choice to homeschool. I
Yeah.
love it. So today we have my beautiful co-host Melissa Fisher.
Hi.
She's the brains behind this all. Trust me.
Yes.
and and we also have beautiful Justine,
Hello. Hi, everyone.
a mom of three, believe it or not. She doesn't look it. She looks 10, maybe 15.
Can I say my little introduction?
Of course. Hey, do your thing.
So, today's episode is one that touches my heart deeply. It's called Where Love Teaches a Mother's Bold Choice to Homeschool. And our guest today is someone who truly defines strength, grace, and purpose, Justine. Justine is the kind of woman who walks in faith and follows through on her word. She's a wife, a mother, a student, a business owner, a creator, and a believer. But more than anything, she's a woman who puts her family and faith first.
Love it.
She's the type who doesn't just plant seeds in her garden, she plants them in her children, her home,
Wow.
and her purpose. She's raising her family on love, discipline, and devotion to God. What I've always admired about Justine is that she doesn't just talk about doing the right thing, she lives it. Even when it means swimming against the current, she stands firm in her beliefs, and that's rare in today's world. Her story is about courage, about choosing faith over fear, purpose over pressure, and love over limits. And today she's sharing her journey into homeschooling, what inspired it, how she makes it work, and what it's teaching her family about strength, sacrifice, and unconditional love. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
thank you for that.
Wow. That was
Yeah,
an
but see, I was like
amazing
all
introduction.
that.
Amazing
No, I
introduction.
truly admire you. You know that. I've always said that about you. Like,
Likewise. Thank
you
you.
have, she does so much, but
So do you.
talking about
But I
homeschooling.
get it. No, but I love whenever she brings somebody to me, she's never off, not even a little bit. So
Mhm.
everything she said about you is really what you do and what you actually project. I love it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Melissa, I know you have questions, so I'm going to let you rock.
Justine, you wear so many hats: wife, mom, student, business owner. How do you keep faith and family grounded through it all?
Ooh, day by day, because it is a lot. Um, I think the best way.
A little closer to the mic because it doesn't pick up always. Thank
So I think, I mean, obviously, God gives me strength. I could not do it alone, but I think, you know, compartmentalizing things, knowing when to stop one thing before starting the next,
you. Awesome.
and knowing when you are spread too thin and when you need to reel it in is really the key.
Thank you for that. I learn from every show, I have to say that. Every episode, I learn something. Family, faith, and foundation. I love your questions every week. They get better and better and better.
All I do is Google and paste
Mhm.
and put
Yeah, right.
information
No,
in.
you
Google.
put your heart into it because that's the kind of person you are. You're just like that. It was kind of like your introduction to her it was almost like you were talking about you. So that's kind of cool. Takes one to know one type thing.
Stick together.
I like it. So Justine, tell me, like, are you from this area? Are you from Ulster?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, I have been here. I'm 35 now. I've been here since I was 8.
You
Um,
look 20.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that's live. Um, yeah, so I've been here since I was 8. At this point, I've, lived in Kingston, Saugerties. I'm in Shandaken now, so I've stuck around.
Wow. 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 You got stories up there.
I do.
Do you love it up there?
I mean, it has its pros and cons for sure.
I'm fearful of like
The
the
animals.
wilderness.
Yeah. We feed some animals.
Whoa, lions and tigers and bears. I mean, past Saugerties, that's where my mind goes. Like, whoa,
We get them.
holy cow. But you have three, and they have to be beautiful for you to look like you do. Three beautiful kids. And what are the ages of your kids?
My oldest is 10, my middle one is 6, and then my youngest is almost a year and a half.
She has a baby, y'all. Do you see what she looks like? Like, that's amazing. You know something. When we get off camera, you're going to tell me something
I
because
will.
thank you. I appreciate it. So, being a mom, juggling, you have a business also. Let's talk really quick.
Businesses, yeah.
Do you? Let's talk about.
So I have Renew You, which is the business that probably more people know about because I've been doing that for probably close to a decade now. And that is I'm an esthetician by license. So I provide eyebrow and eyelash services like eyelash extensions, microblading. That's how I met Melissa.
Wow,
And then I earlier this year started my doula business,
you're a doula
the
too.
New Day doula. So I'm a postpartum
Oh,
doula. I just finished up my CLC class. I have to take my tests so that I'm able to also provide lactation services.
I love her already. Anybody that talks about breastfeeding, which is, um, it's a gift from God. I'm telling you, I sincerely believe in it. When I looked better after delivering my son because I breastfed. I wish I could breastfeed my. But that's awesome to be a lactation specialist. Like, do you? Because I remember when there was a surge of breastfeeding. Let's push breastfeeding. Let's educate people on the importance of breastfeeding. I worked at Kingston, and that was a big deal. And I was like, this is so cool because it was relatable to me. But it kind of died down. And I had a funny story happen. I know you must hear things too. I was a human resource, I'm sorry, I did that too. Human rights director at one point, and I had a woman that worked in a firehouse that had a baby and she was breastfeeding and they were freaking out on her. And I was like, let me go to this firehouse because this is life.
Mhm.
Like, it's not even apples and oranges. Like, this woman was like a vibrant part of this firehouse, and they were freaking out because she was throwing a blanket over her and feeding her child,
Yeah.
and they were being rude to her.
Mhm.
So I like love the opportunity to support her and to educate them
Right.
because people just don't know, they don't understand how much better that baby's going to be because the mother's bonding, giving him what the baby needs, but the tension that she must have dealt with. And she was so happy to have support. Do you experience things like that?
I think there definitely is kind of like it's coming up again because people are, I think,
Good.
becoming more educated and they're getting more support. So I think up until earlier this year, like you couldn't even get insurance for a doula, where now you can. And think breastfeeding is relatively new to that as well. So that opens up a door for more people to have those services. I have a lot of respect for the medical field, but when women give birth in a hospital and they get to see a lactation consultant for 15 minutes if they're lucky, they're not getting the education that they
Oh,
need
it's only once that they do that? They don't
in the
actually,
hospital. I mean, because you usually only have one person who's providing it to how
right,
many moms that have just given
right.
birth, so they're spread very thin.
Understandable.
Um, I know it's a sensitive subject and not everyone wants to do it or can do it, but I
Mhm.
think as long as you get the education, which everyone deserves, and then you make whatever decisions best for you, that's really all you can ask
I
and all you can
respect
do.
all of that, but I think if somebody chooses to do it, you should never, ever, ever try to make a woman that's taking care of her child feel uncomfortable about doing
They
it.
should have the support, yeah. And I think that's changed as well.
That's
I
changed a
feel
lot.
really
Think?
bad
Yeah.
for moms
Has that?
that, yeah, we're doing it, however long ago. It's definitely different and a lot more accepted, I guess, to see those things in public than it
When I
was
did
even like
it,
20 years ago. Yeah.
It was or it wasn't?
2 years ago, I did it, and it was when I was in the hospital. I remember I was at Betty's Hospital. I remember the nurse being like, "Do you want to breastfeed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to." And no one was there to teach me. My mom never did it or anything like
Right.
that.
Mine either.
So it was hard. One of my mom's friends actually came over after I got out of the hospital, and she helped me
That's
because it
awesome.
took like a minute. I could have gotten frustrated and just said, "I don't want to do
Happens.
that." But I really wanted to do it. I don't know why, because nobody in my family did it, but it wasn't really common because the nurse was like, "You sure you want to?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to."
Wow. Because your maternal instincts are like to the moon. They're on the moon.
But I feel bad for people that can't do it. And it's, that's really sad. And I just feel bad for moms
Me
because I
too.
know that some moms really, I've had friends that really want to do it, but they can't. They're not producing the milk or something. It's just not.
Or
Did they
two
have support or they didn't have support?
that they
I
did.
don't think they did
Yeah.
have support.
Because I think a common misconception too is that can't is like the norm.
Mhm.
It's a reality, but it's rare. So as long as you have the support and you have someone kind of guiding you in your own circumstances, most women can. But it's just a lack of support. And I've
Not
been the one that
right.
didn't and got frustrated and stopped and had issues, but I
I
also
hear
didn't
that.
have support.
I've heard that a lot, but you too must have maternal instincts to keep going and try. Yeah. I mean, strong maternal instinct because I think, I don't know. Sometimes I take things for
It
granted.
takes willpower for sure. It's
Yeah.
not the easiest thing in the world. I
Right.
mean, that's
But
just
I will say, I was putting blankets over me. I did not want to breastfeed in public. I did not. And I did see people do it way back then. That was 30 years ago, but I didn't. I
and
remember
because
going
of
in.
them though, but because of people like you that just did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, even when it was the norm, now it is the norm for a lot of women. So
Totally off of the subject. Sorry. I want to go back to the homeschooling.
No, that was good stuff though.
No, I know,
I
but
think it was.
I know a lot of people you have your friends tuning in for
yeah,
specifically this homeschooling
where
thing.
it goes, I'm open.
So,
I
I
like
want to
that.
know, how has your husband supported you through this journey?
My husband, love you if you're watching, you're incredible, is very supportive in everything.
That's
So this was
awesome.
just another thing to support me in. Um, I think the biggest way that he supports me today is he doesn't do any of this school, but he allows me the time to do it. So he is essentially the breadwinner working full time. I work more part
Beautiful.
time and I work a more open schedule. So having the time to be able to do that is the biggest way that he supports me. Um, yeah, and he trusts me. You know, being able to trust your partner and know that I have their best interest. He may not always get it, but he knows that I'm here to take care of them and I do that fiercely. So that
That's
trust
awesome.
is great. Yeah,
I
having
love
that
that.
helps a lot.
It's
If
awesome that you don't freak out because it's a lot of work. People think that it's easy and it's a lot of work. People think that anything stay home is easy, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
I mean, yeah.
And we're
You have
not
to do
talking
it
about
to
one,
understand.
three.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a stay-at-home mom
Excuse
and
me.
everyone thought it
You were
was
just a
cute.
stay-at-home mom.
And then somebody, I don't know, years later approached me and was like, actually, you're a chef, you're a house cleaner, you're your car service, you're this, you're that. Like they named all these things, and I was like,
You don't think it
"Whoa."
because we just do it.
I mean, I would challenge anyone watching who thinks that being a stay-at-home mom or being a full-time mom is easy to do it. See if you can last, a week, a month,
That's right.
you know.
Even
Some
with
people can't
one
even.
child,
Right.
even with
Yeah.
one child, and especially like having children in different stages, like that's
Yeah.
one needs this, one needs that, and it's just, I think being a mom was probably my favorite job
Yeah.
ever, 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 ever. I could have done that forever, and I didn't even want kids initially,
Yeah.
but
Isn't it
that's
funny how they change you? How many
yes,
kids do you have?
I have two, but I only physically have one. Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. Like, um, I wouldn't change anything, and I had stuff. Just that's the best way to
Yeah.
put it. But I want to keep the focus on you because you are more amazing the more we talk to you.
If he hadn't supported you, what would you have done?
That's a good question. I guess I wouldn't know because I haven't lived it, but
That's great.
it is a problem that is real to some people, especially if you are co-parenting or dealing with separation and divorce. You may have the other parent who is not willing to compromise on that. They'd rather have you work, whatever it may be. Um, if I was in that situation, if my partner was not supporting me, I would one just ask for time because you can homeschool for a year, you can do it for a term,
Mhm.
kind of see, uh, ask them to just give you the chance to try it and see how it goes, because you will never know until you do it. And really, you know, let them know how it's going to benefit their child. I mean, I don't think that there's anything more beneficial than your child being with you and that one on one. I mean,
But it's not
one-on-one
easy.
education, yeah, is how could they not benefit from that? How could a
Right.
class of 30 be better for them?
No,
It doesn't make sense.
not comparable. But can you possibly, and I know you might have a
No,
way that you want to do this, but and I respect it.
sure.
I
You please.
but you try to do that. Try to put me on the spot all the time. So you're the brains behind this. I keep saying that. So when people say homeschooling, because I actually talked to some kids that were like, I don't know, junior high school or yeah, junior high school age that were homeschooled. Can you tell me about the like, because a lot of people I believe don't understand it.
Hmm.
So to a parent that does not have any clue what it is to homeschool, how how is it in comparison to a regular education going to a school, a public school or private, whatever? How do you get grade? How does your child get graded? How do they pass? How do they progress year to year? What's the systematic thing? I think I want to know.
So I think that's a good question because I think that is something that unless you do it, you don't know. And I didn't
Right.
know until I did it. And then I mean, my oldest is in fifth grade, so there's still more to learn as I go. But, one, I would start by saying that every state is different. New York State is actually one of the strictest states when it comes to homeschool.
Okay, so
So for people that feel like, especially if you're in the state, they're not going to get the same level of education, the district is going to make sure of it because you're still tied to the district.
that's what I think.
So you have the right to homeschool, and then you let the school district know that you're going to be homeschooling. Whatever school district your children would be going to, that is your district. You write them an email and you say, I'm homeschooling. They do not have the authority to tell you yes or no. They just say okay. And then you have 30 days to submit what's called an IHIP. And that is essentially your plan. So for math, English, for every subject, what are you going to teach them?
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be the plan of every day, but just generally, what are you teaching them? And then they approve or disapprove it.
The school system.
The school. Yeah. And every school, at least in New York State that I know of, I've homeschooled in 2 counties so far, does have a designated personnel for homeschool. So they all have a principal and a vice. They have a homeschool
I
person
didn't
that's
know
a
that.
contact.
Wow.
So you submit it, they tell you if it's okay. I've been doing this is my 6th year. I've never gotten a no, so just provide enough information. And also, I mean, when I'm coming up with that plan, and this is something to consider too, to kind of answer your question about making sure and how it's different, is you can make a plan that's very similar to school, and what they should be learning. Like, what are kids, if they were to go to that district, were the fifth graders they're learning? I'm going to teach them the same plus a little bit more.
That's what I got from
Yeah.
I was just because I actually experienced these kids that were hanging out at Kingston Library. Shout out to Margie Menard because she does a great job at Kingston Library with homeschool kids. In the summertime, they have a different life than the other kids that, and she just created a program where they can actually have some free time, but to still stay in their mentality because they tend to be super intelligent. I noticed homeschool kids are intelligent kids.
She said it.
And I don't know what it is. And that's why I wanted to know the systematic term. Like, do you do a different thing? But it's probably the one-on-one. That's probably what
Yeah,
does it.
I mean, for me right now, it's 3-on-1, but I think,
That's
yeah, so
different.
you do, just to finish up the other thing, like you do submit report cards every quarter. So they are tracking and you submit a final report. And then they say, okay, everything's satisfactory. They're good to move on. So you are in the
Mm.
system enough to make sure that your kids are getting the good
The
education that they need.
requirements.
As far as like the method of homeschool, everyone does it different.
That's
I
right.
actually write my own curriculum. I only do a curriculum for math because it's not my strong point, and I don't want my kids to suffer because of that. So
Mm,
that's where we use a book and
mm.
tutors if we need. Everything else I teach them, but as speaking to like the intelligence of a child, I think that there's something, when we grow and we mature, it's usually because we are utilizing some sort of mentor, someone wiser than us, older than us, more experienced than us. That's what they get in their parents. They are us, just better, right? We're the ones molding them. So I think there's a difference between hanging out with a class of 30 or so kids that are your age and hanging out with an adult all day.
So you know, it sounds really, really good, and you're such an intelligent woman. So how does a mom or dad, whoever is homeschooling, how do they homeschool a kid when a kid is being a kid? Because a kid is going to be a kid regardless. So
Definitely.
like if let's say, because we go through things, like there's phases. A kid could be mad because they were upset about something else, and they always tend to feel like they're going to be mad at their mother or their parent. How do you actually get them to focus when you are the same person that they're with all the time?
Okay. I think there's one thing I think is to cater to your child where they're at, right? So, like year by year, I have a boy. He's the hyper one. He's the one all over the place. My 6-year-old is very like meticulous, and she can be all over the place too. She's young, but kind of work with their strengths and weaknesses. I think
That's
that's
all.
what's not working in the school system. And no disrespect to the school system,
I
we've all been in
understand.
it. I've had a lot of great teachers on and on, but it's easier, I think, for a child to get distracted when they're in a class of 30 and the teacher is only speaking to certain people, only certain people are in the front.
Mhm.
My kid's always it's always us. So there's nowhere else, I say him because he's my more hyper one. But I, they pick a third of their curriculum. So I
Oh,
think that engages interest to begin with. They
that's
tell me what
right.
they want to learn about, so they're excited to learn.
Hmm.
And I do a lot of kind of hands-on things. They're not, maybe some kids are the type to kind of like be lectured to and take notes and do things on paper. Mine aren't. So I do outside education, play education, art education as much as possible because
Interactive.
that's their strength. That's what they're good at.
I love when you said that, to meet them where they're at,
Yeah.
because that's one of the downfalls when a kid is, you mentioned hyper. Many times a hyper kid is a kid that's very smart, and they got it, and you're boring them, and they want to move on to the next thing, and their mind is busy, and they're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm bored. But they're very smart. I know this.
Yeah.
Oftentimes a hyper kid is smart.
Another thing that a lot of people don't know is school is typically 8 hours. Homeschool, it's a lot less. It's maybe half.
That's what I was
So
gonna
they
ask
also
you.
don't have to be engaged as long. They don't have to sit and listen
That's
as
a
long.
good
So
thing.
that helps too.
Mm-hmm.
Are there groups or anything like homeschooling other parents? Like, do you guys, is there like something you can go online and
So there are a lot of them. There are Facebook groups, many of them that you can join and find someone near you. I think libraries host a lot of
Right.
events for homeschool children.
Right.
There are co-ops. So, for example,
Good call.
my my church, for example, has a
Good call.
co-op
Mhm.
where they meet at a location every Friday from this time to this time.
That's cool.
So that is their chance to kind of engage, for me to meet other homeschool moms that are already kind of like similar, right? We obviously have the similar belief system.
Well,
So yeah, there are things happening.
so that actually, I was thinking social skills, because I did notice that the group that I actually saw were different socially. Like they all understood each other because they all were homeschooled, but it was like um I worried. Like I had a friend that had her son was is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And uh, he was homeschooled, but socially awkward. Like I worried about him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So the fact that you have this group that meets, they do get to interact with other kids, and the ups and downs that come with different personalities.
I love that question. I love the social question because it's a big one. It's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest reason why people don't do homeschool, because they don't want their kids to be weird or antisocial. Um, and it's one of the things when I was kind of on the fence that I was like, but I want him to socialize.
Mm-hmm.
There are pros and cons to any social environment.
Right.
I mean, most of us are going through the school system, right? Homeschool numbers go up and up every year, but most of us are still in public school. And I guess my question would be, okay, do we see any turnouts socially that would make me sway to public school? You have kids that are more depressed than ever, more anxious than ever. They're still
Very different.
antisocial. There's a lot of mental health issues. There's
That's right.
bullying. So there are things that those kids are exposed to that mine aren't. My kids have a level of confidence that I think they would not have at their age if they were in school, because kids have a way of being, themselves until they're put in an environment where now, okay, well, that's weird. Let me like shrink up. My kids don't have
I
that.
think it's you.
They are
I have
exactly
to
the
compliment you. I think it's you because
Oh,
no, but
okay.
I think that it depends on the style. Like
Sure.
you've been hitting all the buttons, like you don't do it like 8 hours a day. You're not cramming everything down there. Like, you're not trying to prove, oh, because they're homeschooled, I have to make sure that they are the top level of intelligence, blah blah blah. But you're also aware of the social um the concern about social skills because having being in that environment at least sometimes like going to games or going to things where there's a bunch of people because I think the way that you're actually rearing them is making them seem like everything this is no different. I might be better off, and I love that you said that they have confidence.
They're very
Mhm.
confident and they still play sports. They go to libraries. Like my one cousin has 6 kids. So if we go to her house, that's social time. There's
Yeah,
9
it
kids,
is.
you know?
Yeah,
So
it is. You can
there's
hear all
lots
kinds of
of ways to
stuff.
get it. And then also while kids are in school, because we don't teach on Fridays, I give them that day off. If we're out and
Awesome.
about,
I think it should be
they're
that way
gonna need
anyway.
socialization than someone that has to be quiet in a class.
It's you.
Mhm.
It's her.
It might be that
I
too,
I
but
think you're very well rounded. You thought things
appreciate that.
through. Yeah, because what made you choose homeschooling?
Um, I my son was around 3 when the pandemic hit, and he was having delays. So that was kind of the first thing. He was having speech and behavior issues. Um, and everyone was suggesting putting him into like pre-K so that he could, get those services there and be around other kids that were more, talkative and kind of like learn from them. So I did. It wasn't really what I wanted to do because he was only 3 and I didn't really want to put him in there, but he was doing daycare at the time anyway. So I'm like, let's do it. If this is going to benefit him, I'm all for whatever benefits him. I can at least try it.
That's awesome.
And um I had a lot of issues with the school system. He was in 4 different schools. I would get a lot of complaints about his behavior and all these different things. And when the pandemic hit and everyone was home, I ended up having to take on that role anyway because everyone was virtual. So anyone who had
Very
little kids, like
common.
you were doing homework or schoolwork on the iPad with your class. So I did that for a little bit. And then I just remember we were on the school meeting one morning and the principal, they were essentially being like shepherded back into school. So it was like towards the end of, the height of the pandemic and
Mhm.
everyone's about to go back to school.
When
And I
nobody
remember the
wanted to.
principal say, remember kids, like when you're here, no high fives, no hugging, make sure you have your mask on, 6 feet apart. And that's when I was like, you know what? If I'm sending him to be social and that's not what he's going to get, I'm just going to do homeschool. I did homeschool for 30 days and I saw way more improvement in him than the year and a half I had him in school. So I was like, what would be the point? I'm going to homeschool, I'm going to do it.
I love what you said. I'm sorry. Is okay? Because I know you have good
Well,
questions, and I don't want to miss them because my mind just. Yeah, Dave's question was very good too. How do you
yeah.
go to AI for any help with understanding materials?
No, but I'm not against it. I guess I'm just not there yet. So my daughter is 1.5. She kind of just hangs out with us and like learns,
Mhm.
residually. And then I have a first grader and a fifth grader. So
Big
that will
difference.
probably be needed. But
Oh, I
right now, I
think
guess we're
Dave
not
is
there yet.
spot on to something because AI. I keep saying I need to get into AI much more. It's definitely going to be a game changer on levels that we're not even talking about
It
it.
already is, but yeah,
We
even
probably
more
need to do
so.
a session on that, to be honest, because I think sometimes I get so busy that I sleep on things that are very, very important. And that's one of the reasons why I love Dave, whether he likes it or not. Because that is a necessary tool because there are going to be people that have, let's say you have a business and you're doing it this way. When you put that AI twist on it, it's going to actually traject that business.
Yeah.
My belief.
And it
My,
gives you leverage to have those skills and to know technology
that's
and
right.
where we're headed. I think I'm not against it, but I also like, I think we've handed over a lot of our skill sets for convenience, right? No one gardens anymore. People aren't hunting and fishing and they don't know how to like change a tire. Not that I know how, I'm just saying. But we're losing a lot of skills because we're putting them in the hands of other people.
Mhm.
So I'm not against it and I'm not against using it for our benefit, but I really want to make sure that my kids are their roots are firm, they have their confidence built up, they have the basics built up, and kind of before they learn that way, right? It's kind of like a calculator. Like, yeah, my son can use calculator for math, but I want him to learn to do it on paper first. So those are things that we'll probably introduce later on.
I bet the answer to that question is going to be, well, yes, basic care maintenance, home ec,
Oh, that's a big part of our education for sure.
because they're in the home environment anyways, right?
So in New York
Oh,
State,
Dave.
there is testing, kind of like the Regents exams, but
Huh?
what a lot of people use is what's called a CAT exam. And that is an online kind of like final assessment of where they are and what they've learned.
An
It's only
assessment.
tests on math and English. So when it comes to math and English, I kind of go, with the current. When it comes to other things, I like to pick my own topics,
Cool.
things that are important to me, things that I want my kid to know.
Love her.
So, for science, I want them to learn about, yes, gardening and cooking because I want them to have those basic skills. I want them to have independence. I want them to learn physical fitness and how macros work because these are just the things I
Wait,
want
what
them
are
to know.
macros?
Macros are like, what your food is made up of, like the protein, the fats, the carbs, like how those things work, how your body works. These are the things like you should know.
We might need to have a session. I'm so serious. We need to have a wellness session on macros, and because I
All
don't
things
get it.
wellness. Yeah.
I don't get it and I want to get it. And that's when I'm thirsty for something, I have to have it. And that's one of the things I love to talk more about. So they're gonna get home ec, and to answer that question to the 10th power.
Definitely. I think those are the things that are important. I think that again, we're losing, you know, with all due respect to the school system, do my kids really need to know like the makeup of a cell? We'll talk about it for sure. Or would they benefit more from concentrating on their body and how their immune system works and how their bones, function and how muscle mass helps, longevity and quality of life? Those are the things I want them to know and I think are important.
Things are changing. I think you're ahead of the game. Wellness is one of the big things. And a lot of kids aren't taught that.
Mm.
Gardening, simple things, basic things that our grandparents did.
Taking out loans, bank accounts.
Financial literacy. Whoa, you're
Financial
you're
literacy.
a baddie.
And I'm still learning that too.
You're a
But yeah.
baddie. Oh, let me help with that. I can help with that. That's crazy. I can't help myself, but I can help everybody else. It's one of those things. But my job, that's kind of what I do. One of the things I do. But I want to know how, because I'm so glad you answered the question about how you started, how you got into home teaching, homeschooling, because almost everyone that all the parents that I got the opportunity to speak to about it, they had issues with school systems because they're, I think, nothing against the school system, like you said, but I think that there's too much that they're responsible for. Like if you have a kid that's hyper, don't just think that there's something mentally wrong with that kid. It could very well be that he's too smart for what you're giving. Do you know what I mean? So that happens. You know what I mean? That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Many times it's misconceived though. My son was in a private school for preschool, and he was so smart that the person that was out, the owner of it, said, "Make sure for the final play that he's here early because he knows not just his part but everybody's part." And I was like, and then she told me, "You need to have your son tested," and I had him tested, and he was super progressed. And then I put him in public school because she closed her school, and when he went to public school, he was like a busybody, a busybody. That's why I could relate to what you said about your son. And I remember he up until like maybe I think second grade he had to know 250 words by the end of the school year. He knew them in a month. Like he was just out there. He's still out there. But I think that a teacher, an amazing teacher that does not have the weight of the world because you have a ton of people's kids in your class. I think it was his fourth grade, third or fourth grade teacher realized we need to have him help with the previous class. So they took him out of this environment that was boring him and put him in the class where he was helping the lower grades, and he seemed to be able to focus more.
Yeah, I mean, the
It's
system
you got to
is
find them where
it's
they are.
advising, and I have a lot of love and appreciation for teachers. You guys have it hard. You guys are
Yeah,
technically raising kids because
no
the
doubt.
parents, if your kid's in school, I mean, you get them home, they have homework, they have to shower, they have dinner, they if they have sports or in clubs, like you're barely with them. So really these
Don't
teachers
miss
are
any of
raising
it.
kids and they're dealing with some kids that are being neglected. They're dealing with some kids that are advanced and dealing with all sorts of like mental things that, they bring to school. So, and then now there's all sorts of liability and recording. Like, you guys have it freaking hard.
Yeah.
Even the best teachers are having a hard time. So, yeah,
It's a lot. It's definitely.
it's a lot.
And then you have teachers that, I mean, parents that say, that's the teacher's responsibility. I mean, like, ain't that your child?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it bugs me out. Like here, and and I'm not saying that in a maybe I am saying it in a bad way. Be down with your kids, regardless of what. I know life is busy, and I feel bad for the mothers that had the mothers and fathers that got to work multiple jobs just to
Or
try
the
to
single
survive.
parents. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very very hard. But when you're a child, like if you don't have the time to do it, find something. There's programs out there, and it's not easy. And if you need to, come at me, get with me. I'll try to find something for you because it's not a game. I love the fact that you actually curb things to benefit what your kids need.
Yeah.
Like that's the magic that you have in homeschooling, you personally. And I think that not everybody is so cool about things. You're not rigid at
My
all.
husband's probably watching, like, cool, who? No,
My wife is not cool.
not the I have been definitely humbled by children, right? Like before I had my first son who's now 10, I was very rigid and controlling. And then I had him and it's like, oh, can't be that way anymore because he can't control kids. And then I had a second and then I had a third. My third really took me for a loop. So yeah, kids have a way of kind of like refining you. And that's what I tell people all
Definitely.
the time. Like being a parent and being a homeschool teacher, like is not the easiest thing, but it's so rewarding and it'll grow you and it'll show you who you are and what you're made of.
It's educational on both sides. You're
100%.
educating them, but your kids definitely
100%.
educate you. Yeah, that's very, very deep. I love your whole the way that you look at things because personally, I just a little bit that I'm seeing, it seems like you're a great parent. Now,
Appreciate that.
but you're a very, very smart parent. And by smart, I don't mean just book. I mean the fact that you know that this kid needs this, and I need to work more with him with this, and she's like this. Like it's hard to like compartmentalize
Mm.
the needs of one kid because one kid could need 10 things. You know what I mean? But to do it with three, I'm in admiration of you because
Appreciate
my
that.
sister has 100 kids, and Nisi,
Dread.
100.
Dread.
Nisi, my hat goes off to you because she's like, she loves her kids. She loves her kids. And like, I used to be like, I'm not having kids because Nisi got 100 of them. So I'm not doing it. But now I see how she is. She hovers over her kids. You know what I mean? She's a great mom. She's crazy, but she's a great mom.
I mean, listen, if that's what you gotta be, that's what you gotta be.
That's right.
This world is
That's
crazy,
right.
so maybe.
I can't wait till you see this thing. She's gonna be like, you hear Nina talking about me on her podcast.
I loved being able to be home with my kids. I did. I really loved it. And as they grow up, they go away. And that's why I love my grandkids so much because now I'm like reliving
Yeah.
the house
Obsessed.
and
Wait,
kids.
what'd you say?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're
I
probably a
am.
better
I am
version of
obsessed.
yourself too.
Yeah.
You're able to be like a different kind of parent to your grandparent or your grandkids. It's
Is it
Yeah.
more with grandkids? Like, do you,
I mean, my kids are always like, "You didn't treat us like that. You let
that's
us
what I
slide
mean.
and everything else." But like, I was really a bad parent. Like, I would walk by their rooms and I would peek in and I'd stick my hand underneath, make sure they were still breathing. I was constantly around my kids. Like, I coached them. I loved being a mom. I was
Yeah,
there.
I like being a
And
mom.
I was able, thank God, my husband, I'm saying allowed me to stay home, but we couldn't afford me to like be out working and pay for a babysitter for three kids.
yeah.
So I was able to stay home and take care of our kids. And
Your son, the one you brought in here, like,
Michael,
he's just like awesome. His aura is really, really good. Like, he must be a good parent.
hey, yeah, they
That's what I
they
got
are
from him.
my oldest Marcus is too. They're really great fathers.
That's awesome.
Kids are great moms. They're all blessed. But I'm more blessed because I have those five grandbabies.
Mhm.
5. Can you
Amen.
imagine?
Yeah. But I have to say, just I do get like the patience. Like you have to have a lot of patience, when you're trying to work with your child. Because
Yeah.
I know there was times I wanted to just say, "Oh, screw this,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
walk out of the room because it was a lot. So
We,
will
Like
say,
getting
that's
that
part of
break.
being a good mom, I
just
think.
to add to that too, like, I was actually scrolling on social media the other day in one of the groups that I'm a part of, the homeschool groups, and someone asked, what is something you learned about yourself since homeschooling? There were like 100 comments, and at least half of them said that I have no patience. So that's a very common, I mean, you have to expect, obviously, like you're going to be a little bit more strained when you're with your kids all the time. It's easy to have patience if you only see them an hour at
I
night.
wonder about
But
that.
when you're with them all day, that can be a lot. But it's something that you work through. Like sometimes I don't have the best patience. And I'm like, I am so sorry that I like went off like that. But
Please.
or it's like
They're
knowing
fine, I'm sure.
it's like knowing that
Did you,
what I like to do more than anything is like if I feel like I'm getting there, we're gonna take a 15-minute break and we'll come back to this. Or I'll teach the subject the
more
next
good
day.
mom skills I hear. Did you do you take time for yourself because you're constantly there?
Yeah, I'm a night owl. So like once everyone's sleeping, that's when I get my time.
Me too.
If I can wake up early and before the kids, which is not usual. Yeah.
People used to say to me,
Uh,
"Why are you emailing at 2 o'clock in the
yeah.
morning?" Because nobody's bothering
Yeah.
me.
We try our best to honor the Sabbath on Saturdays. That is our day of rest. That is what we owe the rest of our week to. We would not probably function the way that we do without that. So we do try to, honor the Father in that way and take one day a week to rest because we're called to do it for a reason. He knows us better than anyone. And since doing that, I think that makes a big difference for me.
What was one of your questions? One of your amazing questions. What was it like for you growing up, educationally?
Ooh, that's a big one.
Was it different?
Oh man, I had a really interesting upbringing. So I actually lived in Puerto Rico from kindergarten to third grade. I lived with my grandparents. They raised me. And
Awesome
I,
experience, though.
yeah, no, it was great. I mean, I learned a second language. In 2 weeks. I learned Spanish,
Holy
and
cow.
the school experience there is just so different.
Right.
It's so different. And then coming
But you
back
have
here,
palm trees every day.
yeah, no, I live by the beach. I beg.
How was the school there? Like, what do you mean different? Like,
Uh, it's the kids are a lot more mature. Like I think it's just a culture thing too.
That's great.
And rather than having like a big building where you're inside all day, every classroom is like a little house. So you spend like in between classes, you're walking outside. Picture like an apartment complex. Um,
One of the kids we had was from he lived in DR,
oh,
and he said the kids from DR were more mature. When I got over here, they were all silly, and it was just like he said I wasn't used to that. So it's funny that you say that. That must be a Latino thing.
yeah. And then yeah, it's definitely a culture thing. I mean, there's a lot of like Catholicism and, people get married young and everyone wants to be a mom. So there's just a lot of cultural differences. And then
Definitely
coming here, I had a rough couple of years as a teenager and it was
transitioning.
hard. Just personal, like family things
Got it.
going on. So I had a really, really hard, I would say mostly my senior year was really hard. And this is, the one thing that I will always give props to the school system for is I had some really amazing teachers that helped me get through that I would not forget.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And I, yeah, I think because of the way that I grew up, the biggest way that I can tie that to homeschool is I wanted to be the most present person in my kid's life. I didn't want anyone else raising them.
You broke the mold.
I wanted someone else. I didn't want anyone else raising them. I wanted to raise them. So if I have, I'm parenting, my husband's parenting, the school's like parenting, even though me and my husband are like this, we still have different styles and the school's a third party. It's like, how the heck are my kids going to know? What's like, they're going to be confused. You essentially have three parties raising them.
Do you think that some of part of your decision to homeschool was because you figured you could put into your kids what you didn't get?
Oh, for sure. That's always like my everyday mission is to teach them things that I
That's so beautiful
learned later
because
on.
history tends to repeat itself.
For sure.
And the fact that you I love hearing stuff like this because trauma
Yeah.
causes trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially in families, it's generational, for
And
sure.
every family has them. I don't care who
Yeah,
you are,
for
what
sure.
you
They might not recognize that they
say.
have it, but they have it.
Oh, they know. They're from so many things back in the day was like, let's not talk about this, sweep this under the rug. But it's hard to turn that around because it becomes generational. You know what I mean? I love the fact that you said you made a conscious effort, like my kids are gonna get better.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You make me think like, wow, I have a total different outlook on homeschooling because of this conversation, and I'm sure others do as well.
well, I have to say, what do you say to people that say that they have to work because they need the money. They can't homeschool. Like, how do you,
Good
is
question.
there a way around
That's
that?
a great question. I mean, we all need the money. I live in New York State. We have a mortgage. We have, three cars and bills, but it's a touchy subject, and I completely get the need. I mean, when women started working, that created a shift in how our economy functions, and there now is a demand for two parties to work in a household.
It's the
And
only way to
most
make it
people
work.
have to give their kids to a daycare, give their kids to a school, and some people are happy to do that and like do your thing if that's what you're happy with and you have peace with that. But then there are moms crying that they have to send their kids to daycare. So it's a very sensitive subject. I never want to come off like I'm like judging anyone because I've been the mom that put my kid in daycare. I remember with my son, I was in a totally different situation. Oof, Lord,
Thank
I
God.
was in a different situation.
Thank God.
I had to go back to work 2 weeks postpartum. Only
Oh,
1 day a week, thankfully, but
emotional.
oh my gosh, like,
And you were breastfeeding. Whoa.
so I think back to, yeah, I mean, we grow and we get better all the time, but I would say that if it's truly on your heart to homeschool, if that's what your heart desires and you want to do it, you will find a way. Whether that be that you homeschool when you come home from work at 3 o'clock. It doesn't have to be the 7 to 3 schedule.
Glad you cleaned that up
Yeah.
because
That
I
you
I was gonna say
yeah,
that,
like you partner like what we do, me and my husband. I work part-time, he works overtime. So it equals two full-time wages so that we can do this. So it's not an easy, and for some people it means like a change of career and they can't homeschool right now. Maybe they can in 2 years, after maybe it's a time thing.
bold
But if it's
decision.
truly on your heart, I would link up with people who are making it work, groups, people in your community, who are doing it and making it work and learn from them. And your partner is your biggest thing. I mean, you guys are a team. So how can you guys make it work together?
There are a lot of single moms.
Yeah.
And that's why I said easier said than done, and I was glad you cleaned it up. But I would love, my mind is, I have such a weird mind. I was thinking as you were talking, how cool would it be if there was a group
Yeah.
of people, that are single parents,
Yeah.
but they really, really like the look of things, the outcomes of homeschool kids. Because I'm sorry, they seem to be smarter. And it
And you
makes
know
sense.
what? There are single moms. Like there's a mom that I've known for years now, Sarah, who, as far as I know, she's a single mom and she homeschools. So there are people that make it work. Like I said, it's not easy. It's just like if it's your heart's desire and that's what you want to do, you will
Who's
find a
making the
way,
donuts though?
even if it's not today. But your kids are, you can either get a job that's a different schedule. Like I said, you can schedule them outside of school hours.
Who's paying the bills? Who's making the donuts? You remember the commercial? Back in the day, there was a commercial. Yeah. Back in the day, there was a commercial that said, like, it showed a man like dragging himself, gotta make the donuts.
Well, she works. The example that I use is a single mom who's, I think, only a year older than me, who homeschools. She has a full-time job and she works during the day. So I don't know how she makes it work, but she
So
does.
she homeschools totally? Like her?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I'd love to know.
a lot of parents also get, like, you might be a single parent that gets help from a grandparent, and maybe that's how you make it work.
Well, families,
Or co-ops, yeah.
well, that's the point I was making. Like you mentioned, look into people in your community. And it would be cool if there was some kind of group that like supported each other, like a couple of women, three women that really want to homeschool, and but they know that their kid that each one of them have to make the donut, so to
I'm
speak.
sure that it exists, you know what I mean? Like there are people that are really
I hope
innovative. There
so.
are from I believe that these numbers are about right, but for example, from in the United States alone, from 2023, the homeschool in all over the country was about 1 million people homeschooling. So 2023, 1 million people homeschool. To then 2024, a year later, that went up to 5 million.
Wow.
And they all have needs, right? These are all American families that have to make money, have to work, have to pay, and they're making it work somehow. So I believe that those communities exist. I know of a
That's
couple of
awesome.
them, but because I don't need them, I guess I'm not the best resource for that because I'm
But you're
not
giving.
utilizing them.
I love
But
that.
they're out there. They
And
are out
you're
there.
actually throwing out suggestions that are positive hope. You know what I mean? You have a very, very spiritual demeanor. How does that? I love this question that you came up with. How do your faith and marriage guide the way that you raise your children? You kind of answered it in the beginning, but faith. because you speak about things faithful. Do you actually incorporate that in your teaching, in your
Yeah, so we
homeschooling?
do, every day we do prayer and we read the Bible. And yeah, that's definitely a part of our everyday because that's just a part of our Callahan culture at home. But yeah, no, my faith is, I think, a big part of who I am. So by extension, it's going to be if I'm raising them and I'm with them all the time, by extension, right? You put your kids in church, they're going to have church in them, eventually. So it's just going to happen naturally. And then same thing with my husband. Like we believe, in a lot of the same things. We have our differences, but we're the same where it matters. And if we did
Understand that.
not have that, it would be a lot harder. And if he did not trust me to raise our kids,
What
it
does your
would be a lot
husband
different.
do?
He works for Department of Transportation.
DOT. That's awesome.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I love your support system. I kudos to your husband for actually
Yeah,
believing in you.
love to chat.
That only encourages you, I'm sure. Awesome.
What if your kids decide when they get a little bit older that they want to go into the school system?
So that is something that me and my husband have actually talked about, and I'm not necessarily against it. I just feel like for me and my family, I want the foundational years, they belong to me. They belong to the mom. I'm here to raise them, no one else. So if we've actually had that conversation, and I think we think maybe high school, because I think up until then there's really no benefit. I think high school, once you get into sports scholarships, homecoming, prom, the age where they start dating and working, and even like BOCES, like, these kids go to BOCES in 11th and 12th grade. So there are benefits when it comes to those ages.
Definitely.
And I'm not against it, and we might do it. It's a conversation that we have. It would have to be a really good high school that, I wouldn't have problems with.
You're going to be screening the high schools, right?
Yeah,
I,
they don't want to
because
deal with me.
you put all that energy into them
They don't
babies,
want to
like,
deal with me.
exactly.
Because
Man, and my baby's over to
spigot
you.
sauce on behalf of other kids. Like I see anything funny, and that's another reason why I took my kids into my own hands, because I would go on tours to like different pre-Ks, and I didn't like the way kids were being talked to. And when I would try to report them, nothing would
Right,
be done with it. But and I'm like,
right.
I can't. You guys will literally lose your minds because I will be emailing you at this school every day. You don't want me here, so it's best that I just have my kids.
You saved them some heartache, right?
Yeah, but remember the guy that we had here the one day that said that they go to preschools and they evaluate them? Remember the human rights?
It was Joe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Joe.
remember he said, and how many
There,
preschool? And he said that they go in there constantly and they're
I never knew
evaluated.
that until
I
Joe.
didn't know that either. I didn't
Right.
know.
Right. I don't think we actually see it. Um, well, you were at home parent, so you probably how hard was it for you to take your kids to school?
It wasn't.
It,
Well, I was a crazy mom when they were in school.
or I
I
think we're
didn't.
all crazy moms. I'm not even gonna lie.
I
I
just,
do. Good ones and everything. I think we're all crazy moms.
I
How
don't.
do you juggle life, taking care of the kids, the house, the family, every
It's what we have inherently. Like we are,
right?
if you believe in the Bible and you believe in Adam and Eve, we were given for a reason. Like we are the mind,
I love
we're
your
the power.
spirituality.
My whole thing is though too,
Good
like I'm
foundation
not
stuff.
a parent that's like, oh my God, my kid would never do something like that.
Mm,
But I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to trust a word that you say. I am going to talk to my child alone, not with people in his ear. I did that with Michael. They tried to put Michael on charges one time and I like fought them. And you see how the teachers and everybody, even your own friends that are your teacher
that's right.
friends, come together. And I was like, oh hell no. I'm going after you.
I love that you stuck by him
Oh, I did.
because if he
And you
anybody
can
needed
tell
it,
when your child is lying. You know what I mean? You can tell. I'm not a parent that's like, oh, they're
especially when you
innocent.
know that there are medical things or mental things that your child has. Nobody's going to take, like, people don't have the patience that you're going to have in saying, you know what, this is, I got to try this. Even though he's pissing me, he's making me so angry, I'm going to try this.
No one is going to love your child
Right,
and know how to take care of them more than you. And I
right.
feel like when it comes to breastfeeding, when it comes to teaching,
Breastfeeding,
everyone
I
wants
love
to,
it.
it's like, well, are you a doctor? Are you a teacher? It's like, no, but I'm a mom. Like they're my kid. No one is going to do better for them than I am. Period. I don't care who has what credentials.
Do you
Yeah.
guys think that there's something in some women that just like breastfeeding more than others? Like, or is it just because there's an educational piece that's missing? What are your thoughts?
I did it just because I wanted that closeness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Me too.
my kids slept with me. They said you're not supposed to do that. You can, fall asleep and smother them. I never had that issue. All three of them slept in my bed. I mean, I breastfed all
And
three
they
of
still sleep in your bed. Not your kids,
my
your
grandkids.
grandkids.
Yeah.
She sends pictures to me. It'll be like, and they be every which one. One's
Mhm.
this way, one's that way. I'm like,
But like you were saying, like that's the best gift. Like I really cherish those memories. I sometimes feel bad that my daughter-in-laws can't be home with
Mm,
theirs. I I don't know. I People
yeah,
don't realize how quick time goes. I think you're just in those motions. You got to go to work. You got to do this. You have to pay bills. You have to go. Everybody's in
God's
this
making
fast
donuts.
paced movement, and they don't realize that precious little child is going to be growing up so fast. And where'd your time go? What memories do they have with you as you're passing out the door? See you later, mom. See you later, dad. I mean, I don't know. Like what you're doing is amazing to be able to be home. And I'm not taking it from anybody else that cannot be
yeah.
home. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Mamas that juggle life and can even take the time to do homework
Yeah.
after life is
Mm,
amazing because it's not easy. And if that doesn't work, you find another system. I my son went to the club and I said I didn't understand. As smart as I thought I was, math was not my thing. That was his thing, and he was correcting me. And I said, "This ain't gonna work." So I said, well, I took him to the Boys and Girls Club. I said he can't touch a basketball. He can't touch anything until the BARD students that you guys have come here fully do his homework with him. And that's how I made it work because we clash too much. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get
Sometimes you
that.
got to figure out ways to do it, but
Not everyone has the desire. I mean, some moms just don't like, 10 years ago, I was more like the boss girl. And before I had kids, I was working 60 hours a week. It's like, I was trying to build an empire. I was all about my business, and then I grew into this person. Like, we change, we evolve. Some people will never have it on their heart to homeschool, and that's okay. And then some people do. And who I'm speaking to are those people.
right.
Just know that you can know that if you have a partner, work with them. If you have family members or you can, community outreach, do it.
I think that's so awesome that you have a partner.
Yeah,
And I'd love to have some conversations about relationships and support systems because I think that's so, so, so important.
it is.
Like, I don't even see stress on your face because you love your husband. I could tell. You don't even got to tell me. You know what I mean? And and I want to, one last question I have for you is your kids. Do they have like the home? So besides the educational aspect of things, do they have like does your son know that the house has to be a certain way or this is mommy likes to do this like because I feel like they're getting another advantage besides educational stuff like you're teaching them about their body, you're
Mm,
teaching them about the importance of what they eat, you know what I mean, you get to put more time into it because they're home with you. Do you see that?
yeah. I mean, I try to use life. I try to educate from a standpoint of real life as much as possible. I want it to be as realistic as possible because like just to kind of speak to like the school environment, you're in a class with 30 people your age, you're inside most of the day. Like when is that going to ever be the case again? You might work when you and have like a similar schedule with work, but you're never going to be around 30 people your age probably ever
In a
again
room.
until your reunion. So I try to make teaching as relatable to life as possible because I want to leave them prepared. You have too many people getting out of homeschool or getting out of school rather, and they don't know what the heck is next. They don't know the first thing about loans, but they just took a bunch out. I want to prepare them for real life.
I'm surprised you're
So
doing
that's
financial
what we try to
literacy
do.
and stuff like that. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. There's an event coming up tomorrow, Thursday. I don't know how busy things are for you. Is it tomorrow? I don't even know
No,
what
it's
day.
Thursday.
Thursday. Tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Sorry. For your business. For your business, is a great networking opportunity. If you want to, please come. There's a trouble with the registration, but please come.
Okay. We
Yeah.
can talk.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you have anything else for her? Because I have
Dave had
another.
another good
Did you,
question.
Dave? I'm sorry.
He posted it, but we weren't listening, watching.
If teacher to student ratios was 6 to 1 instead of 30 to 1, would you be more open to sending your kids to public school? I think she's done on it.
For me now, I mean, I'm through the harder, maybe could have answered that question differently if I just started, but now that I've been homeschooling for 6 years, I'm pretty set and comfortable. But I
Mm.
think that it's a better way to learn. I think that it's a better way to have, think about when you're in a class and you're in a group of 10 people versus when you're in a group one-on-one. you are even able to have such a better conversation with someone.
That's
And it's such a deeper, richer,
right.
you know, communication.
Definitely.
But I actually, to speak to one of the, I think it was kindergarten that I had him in, was a very small class. One of the four that I had originally sent him to before I homeschooled. I think it was like a 1 to 10 or like a 2 to 10. And I was still having a lot of the issues that I was having with public school.
Wow.
So I
Still,
guess that's only one issue, right? Is like the size of the class. There's so many other issues. You
definitely.
know, you have too many people, in my opinion, working with kids that don't have the heart for kids. It's like when you go to like the freaking, I don't even want to call a specific place out, but let's say it's same way with like where like if you hate people, why are you in customer service? There are people
Exactly.
that don't have a heart for
So
kids that are
true.
working with kids.
Right.
And I don't want those people near my kids.
Right.
Heck no.
That's right. It's amazing. And and for the mothers that can homeschool, just being involved in the school system. Like not the
Exactly.
school system, but
Yeah.
with your child's affairs, like parent teachers or whatever. I remember
PTA.
going to a PTA meeting and they looked at me like, I don't know why this hooker's standing here because she is not getting in our club. And
I mean, listen, if your kids are in the system, because my kids
gotta
are
be in
monthly
it.
too, they were hearing from me every single time I had a problem.
Gotta,
There was an email, a call in person. They had me, oh,
gotta.
you need to apologize, miss. I was like, no, I don't,
Mm-mm.
because you guys are not doing right by my
You're a
kids.
good
I
parent.
don't like it. I don't like how you treat other kids. You have no business treating them that way. And I'm absolutely going to say something. And I think that more parents should be that way, especially the
Definitely.
dads. You guys, they should be scared to mistreat your kids outside of your
Definitely.
absence. They should know that there's consequences.
The
I
outcomes
was
are
that
better.
way, but I was the crazy.
And that's
That's what
fine.
I was
That's
labeled as.
fine.
I didn't care either. I didn't care.
Yeah, that's
I was still
fine.
going in there.
The
Anything
outcomes
against
are
the grain
better.
is seen as crazy, and that's fine. If
Yeah.
you're advocating for your children, that's all that matters.
That's right. So tell us once more about your business really quick. I want you to look your beautiful face in that white camera and tell them about your business because you deserve all the
Okay,
applause.
so I have two businesses. One of them is Renew You. I'm located on 12 John Street. I'm there very limited because I've kind of honed back. I've pulled back to focus on other things, but I do primarily eyelash and eyebrow services. So that's everything from extensions to microblading are the two most popular services that I provide.
What's microblading? I don't want to sound dumb.
It's like a semi-permanent tattoo on the eyebrow. You essentially draw on hair strokes. It's beautiful. Renew You
I
Aesthetics
need
on
that.
Instagram is my best way to kind of see what I've done.
Repeat that again. I'm sorry.
Renew You Aesthetics
Renew
on
You
Instagram.
Aesthetics.
On Facebook too, but Instagram is more kind of up to date.
Awesome.
And then the other thing that I started this year that I'm really concentrating on is my postpartum doula work and
Love
lactation
that.
consultant work. And I actually want to mention because it's not like a common service that people provide, but I provide, and especially now, now is the time that a lot of people are hiding their pregnancies, right? Like now is the time that people are getting pregnant and they don't want to say it. Like they're going to say it Christmas time, they're going to
Yes.
announce it Valentine's Day, things
Yes.
like that. If you are pregnant and you have no idea what you're doing, what you want to do, or you have a very clear idea of what you want to do and you want to know how to get there, like you want a home birth or you want a midwife or
My
you
niece
want to know
needs
what your
talk
rights
to
are,
you.
reach out to me. I provide a service. It's only $150. We'll spend as much time as we need together and I will come up with a birth plan for you and lead you in the right direction.
Oh, I love this.
I always like to say, like, when you go to a hospital, again, no disrespect, but they're kind of like shepherding you through. They're not really telling you every option that you have. I'm a lone agent and I'm only working for you. I have no loyalty to anyone but you. So I'm going to try to get you where you want to be as best as
Doulas
I
are
can.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Because imagine all the things all the hormonal changes that a woman's going through when they're pregnant. You can pretty much talk to a person, see, this is what I think is going to be good for her, and encourage that. That's awesome. Please, my niece, not niece, but I'm going to say my niece, if you're listening to this, get with her. Get with her. Definitely. Yeah. I love that you're a doula. I think you're made to do that. Definitely. And I think for anyone that I love that I didn't know that you were an esthetician. I think that's so fly. It shows. Anybody that needs services on their eyes, she definitely knows what she's doing because she's been rocking you for like ever.
10 years.
She's one of my longest standing clients,
Yeah.
Melissa. I've known her, about a
That's
decade.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I don't even have eyelashes, so we definitely have to talk. So I'm so grateful that you came and spent time with us today. I enjoyed this a lot. Melissa, do you have
Thank
anything?
you for having me.
No,
Just the closing.
seriously.
That's
Okay,
it.
do your
Love
thing. Do your
closing.
thing.
No, I want to be like you guys where I can just not read off my stuff, but
All you gotta do is be cute like you are and have the sincere heart that you have. You're
'cause I get,
good.
especially when you start talking, I'm like, oh my God, wait, what was I going to say? I forgot.
She does that every show. It's because
Just,
I talk too much. I'm
no,
sorry.
don't,
I do.
whatever. Justine, your story is such a powerful reminder that homeschooling isn't about perfection, it's about presence. You've shown that it's not nearly as hard as people think it is. It's about faith, patience, and the courage to believe that you are enough for your children. You've reminded us that home can be the safest, strongest classroom there is, one filled with love, laughter, and learning without limits. No bullies, no pressure, no comparison, just faith, freedom, and family. Thank you, Justine, for sharing your heart, your wisdom, and your truth. You are proof that when love teaches, the lesson lasts forever. Until next time on Nina's podcast, educate, elevate, and
Advocate,
advocate.
educate, elevate.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.